Um, when I started at Noordheuwel in 2012, when I got there, obviously we are Afrikaans speaking medium school, and traditionally in South Africa, Afrikaans schools are not known for their cricket, and I've got a big love for cricket. And when they employed me in 2012, and I started there, the school was. Well, we're still a young school, but in terms of cricket, we didn't really take part against the English-speaking schools. Definitely not the boys' schools, the Cistercians, the Kaisers. I always make a joke with my good old friend there at Kays, Eugene Marks. And when I started there, I said to him, "Listen, Eugene, can I play against you?" And he said, "Yeah, for sure. You can bring your A team and we can play against the D and E teams." And I said, "No, I don't think that's going to work." So it's been a long, hard journey for us. And I think if I have to put it down on one thing that we've done in the past since 2012, was it now, past 13, 14 years, is that we really put in a lot of effort in development at our school.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Stumped, a podcast specifically designed to allow me to waste the time of people who have better things to do than sit around and have a chat with me. And today, my victim is a man who's done a lot for Gauteng Lions cricket's development side, Etienne Janse van Rensburg, the head of cricket, or should I say director of cricket at Noordheuwel Hoërskool Noordheuwel. But for you English-speaking people, it's Noordheuwel High School. Etienne, welcome.
Thank you, Sis. It's a privilege to be on this podcast, my first ever. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, brilliant. I'm happy that I'm the first one to force you to do these things. It's the way of the new world. Etienne, I know today you have Gauteng Lions trials, if I'm not mistaken. So before we get into the meat of this podcast, which is discussing Noordheuwel, let's just talk about your history in cricket a bit. How did it start for you?
Oh, well, it's actually a long story. I started, I think was it in '98, getting involved in some cricket coaching, and from there I got involved with Alsen Cricket, Lions Alsen Cricket. Yeah, and that was in 2000, and just from there it started growing. So this is actually, I think, my 25th year on the Lions Schools Board. And it just basically took off from there, and just carried on working from Alsen Schools. I moved over to mainstream schooling, and since 2019 I've been chairman for high schools cricket in Lions. So yeah, it's a privilege. It's I make a joke every time that I speak to the guys there at the office, and I say it's an undeserving job because you don't get paid for it, and you basically look after the whole of high schools cricket within Lions CGL cricket. So it's a big job, but a nice job. It's a good job. I've seen a lot. Through COVID, you've seen the ups and downs. I've seen a lot of growth. From the days of the Coke T20, now the SA 20 schools competition. So a lot of growth. Johnny Weight competitions where we initially started way back with a small group, and it's just growing. So yeah, very privileged to be part of Lions cricket.
And in a few days, I'm sitting down with Ahmed Nawab, one of your coaches at the Lions, and it's a no-brainer really, because I live in Johannesburg, so I have this attachment to Lions. But from your perspective, when you work with these youngsters and you're trying to determine whom to select, like for instance, under 19 trials. What are you looking at with these young players?
Yeah, so one of the things that we introduced, I think it's about 3, 4 years ago, exactly what you said now, CS, with the youngsters. So I think we one of the few provinces in the country that introduced this. We started with under 14s because we identified that as a gap. A lot of boys stopped playing cricket because the next age group where you can play representative cricket was only at under 15, and then CSA took that away, and so we sat down a few years ago and we brought in a new model, which I'm glad to say has really proved some good dividends for us by introducing under 14. So we actually just finished our under 14 trials 2 weeks ago. They're carrying on all today, starting today, under 14, 15, 16, 17s, 19s. So it's been a great, that's one of the great developing blocks for our youngsters, and we've really seen some good youngsters coming through. A boy like Umbesa, who's really shone a lot. Lincoln Cassius from JP. There's actually quite a few boys, youngsters that's come through. A boy like a Corney Botha that I can just quickly think of. Jason Rolls is a very good example of a boy that has come through as a youngster. So to answer your question in terms of what we're looking for is, I think we're in the privileged position in South Africa that we one of the provinces that produces and that's probably got one of the toughest schools competitions, where you've got all these boys schools, and you've got the up and coming co-ed schools like a Noordheuwel, like a Helpmekaar. So in terms of selection, yeah, it's tough. It's we sitting with we're probably in the fortunate position compared to other provinces that's struggling in terms of Black African batsmen and things like that. We're sitting with an abundance of very, very good, talented cricketing group right through. So, yeah, tough job. Like you mentioned, now you're sitting with Nawab next week. I had a long chat with him yesterday. It's tough. It's tough selecting a CGL under 19 team that's going to the Kayamajola.
Yeah, but one of the things that excites me about the Lions is, as you mentioned when you were speaking of those names, youngsters like Mbesa. But what really excites me, besides Mbesa, because Mbesa is at St. Stithians, which is a recognized school when we speak of producing talent. Your Ryan Rickletons, your KG Rabadas came from this. What excites me the most is seeing schools like Noordheuwel now start to come up. They are now in the conversation. You had Ronan Herman, you had Tian Brits, and now Corne Botha, JJ Basson is now in the SA20. It excites me. Can you take me through the journey of Noordheuwel reaching this point? Because they are not traditionally one of those schools that is in the conversation up here in the Highveld. How did you get there?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I started at Noordheuwel in 2012, when I got there, obviously we are Afrikaans speaking medium school, and traditionally in South Africa, Afrikaans schools are not known for their cricket, and I've got a big love for cricket. And when they employed me in 2012, and I started there, the school was. Well, we're still a young school, but in terms of cricket, we didn't really take part against the English-speaking schools. Definitely not the boys' schools, the Cistercians, the Kaisers. I always make a joke with my good old friend there at Kais, Eugene Marks. And when I started there, I said to him, "Listen, Eugene, can I play against you?" And he said, "Yeah, for sure. You can bring your A team and we can play against the D and E teams." And I said, "No, I don't think that's going to work." So it's been a long, hard journey for us. And I think if I have to put it down on one thing that we've done in the past, since 2012, was it now, past 13, 14 years, is that we really put in a lot of effort in development at our school. We don't necessarily get the best players. That's 100% for sure. We compete against the Pretoria schools for boys, the Offies, the Menlo's, Waterkloos. They come and poach players in our area. So if you look at our under 14s every year, we don't necessarily get the best, but when they come to us, we've got a lot of systems in place, in terms of we've got an indoor facility which we really utilize as much as possible. We've employed a few full-time people there that have run the program, and I think the dividends is that suddenly we've got a Ronan Herman, a Tian Brits, a Ryan Maritz playing at the Lions Colts. We had a boy, MC Steenkamp, a few years ago. After school, he went to go and play for Mpumalanga Rhinos. So our system, our program at the school, I think at this stage is really proving worthwhile. And yeah, what we're trying to do is putting the school on the map, and try and get opportunities to play in all the major festivals around the country. The one festival that we're really hoping to get into is the Michaelmastil. But if you look at where we play, from under 14 right through to under 19, all the festivals we play the Office. We play this past weekend. We played Sax. We played Grey College. We played Paul Roos. We played DHS the other day. We played Clifton. So we're really trying to measure ourselves against the best. And initially, a few years ago, we struggled against those guys. Now we're just not just competing. We're doing well against those guys.
And when I think one of the things that I've learned in my coverage of Noordheuwel is that you guys have an academy. Can you please tell me when it was set up and how many coaches you have there? I think I only know two, Donald Dinake and Rudy Erasmus, but I think the staff complement is bigger than that. So can you take me through that?
Yeah, so when I started at Noordheuwel in 2012, the academy was just put on, just started. And what actually happened is that we had, I think it's about 6 tennis courts or 4 tennis courts, and the 2 tennis courts weren't really utilized that much. And the previous guy that was working with me at Noordheuwel, Mario Swanepoel, had this great idea of establishing the academy, and the governing body and the previous principal were immediately very positive towards the idea. We set up the academy, and like I said, now it just grew. I think the West Rand in particular, there's a dire need for cricket development. We've got a lot of exceptional cricketers on the West Rand. If you look at some of the big names playing professional cricket across South Africa, in the world, a lot of those boys actually come from the West Rand. Yes, they didn't come to a Noordheuwel, they went to an Office, or they went to a St. Stithians. You talk about a Richard Selitswani, he literally stays a kilometer away from Noordheuwel. So the West Rand is a breeding ground for cricket. And what has transpired at our academy is that it started off small, started off really focusing on Noordheuwel's cricket, and it's grown to such an extent that we've got a program running from about 6-7 year olds right through. Etienne Brits still comes at least twice, 3 times a week, and he does additional batting practice at the school. Ronan Herman, when he's not playing, he comes through. So we've really got a good staff going around there. So we've got Rudy Erasmus heading up the academy, Donald Dinake, which has been brilliant. He brings a wealth of experience. He's currently on a level 3. CSA level 3. We've got a Henry Zinn, who another part of our program that's really developed in the last 3 years is girls cricket. A girl like Leonie Swanepoel made a professional debut over the weekend for the Lions. She's only in matric this year. So Henry Zinn runs up a lot of the juniors and then specifically girls. And then some of our old boys we've incorporated into our program. Tian Brits comes probably about 3 times a week, and he does coaching. Ryan Maritz comes and does some coaching. Like I said, Ronan Herman, when he's not busy playing, he comes in, shares a lot of his experience. And then we've got some young up-and-coming coaches that we've also incorporated into our system. Guys like Etienne Liebenberg, who's really passionate about cricket, and he works hard on the juniors. If I say juniors, the primary school boys. So yeah, it's a all-round program running from and looking after from 6-7-year-olds right through to about, Tian Brits is our oldest player that's still coming in for coaching, and I think he's about 24 now.
Mm-hmm. And I think Tian being 24 speaks to the recent boom in the cricket at the school. And I think when you look at it, when you look at the youngsters who are at the school, when they see someone like Brits who's now making it, because this is, after this, there's international cricket, but he's reached where everyone wants to get to. What does it do when you look at it? What does it do to young aspiring cricketers to see Brits come in, Ronan Herman come in, and share their knowledge with these youngsters?
Yeah, well, Sis, I can tell you that's been one of the fruits of this program, is that especially we normally start now. When school starts next week, we start with our grade 7 program, and all the boys coming to us next year, all the grade 8s of next year, they start training with us next week, and that I've definitely seen works. They look up to a guy like a Ronan Herman because they see him on TV, Ryan Maritz, Tian Brits. So, and what we've also done now is a guy like Corne Botha. So we would pair those youngsters up, and they would be batting with a Corne Botha, or they would be batting with a Ronan Herman. So it really works for us. The youngsters look up to those guys. A lot of the youngsters, like I said, the West Rand is a breeding ground for sporting talent. Especially with cricket. I think cricket is a difficult sport. I always make the comparison between cricket and rugby is that, with rugby, you've got so many avenues to go through. You go under 19, you go under 21. Now they're looking at introducing it under 23 competition. Whereas with cricket, you've got your school cricket, and immediately after school, you're into the club system. And even there, we've got a youngster that we employed now full-time this year at our school, Maritz Strauss, who is absolutely brilliant. He's a youngster. He's only 22 years old. Last year, he was in the top 3 bowling rankings for 50 over T20 and time cricket in the Prem League in CGL. So we've introduced him now. He helps us. He's a leg spinner. So even through there, we can see the next youngsters. There's a boy next year coming to us, Wesley Hall. Maritz Strauss is coaching a leg spinner. Yes, brilliant. So to answer your question, is it working? Is it benefiting us to have these youngsters batting with the known players? Definitely. It's batting, bowling, everybody, like you said now, JJ Basson is becoming a household name, in South Africa. He's a youngster, got auctioned off at the SA20, so everybody's looking up to him. I saw the other day at practice when some of the primary school boys were coming into the academy and they saw JJ. Everybody's pointing at him, and you could see everybody knows him. So that's great. That's great for Noordheuwel. It's great for the boys. It's great for our cricket.
When I spoke to JJ and his parents, and then Corneille, one thing that a particular strand was common through both kids, Corneille and JJ, was the humility. They are really down to earth, and this is something, yes, the family plays a big role in it. However, I also feel that the program that you guys have plays also a significant part in making sure that these youngsters, whatever their accomplishments, they stay grounded.
Yeah, yes, listen, there I can carry on the whole day. We based on certain principles at the school. One of those principles are that we take the win, and we'll, like they say, brag about it. But after that, we're down to earth. Cricket is a funny game. One day you're up there, especially as a bowler or as a bat, you can score 200-300s. We've got a boy now, Dian Talyard. You can write his name down somewhere. He's a boy for the future. I definitely think there's something about him. And in the Josie Cup, he did brilliantly. And suddenly, for a period of 2 weeks, he was down on earth, couldn't get runs. So that's something that we really work hard on. We're fortunate that Rudy has got very good connections with a guy like Jody Martin, who runs a lot of our mental, let's call it mental program. So a lot of the boys have bought into that as well. So because cricket is a mental game, you need to be mentally strong. So we try and work hard with the boys to be humble in their achievements.
I think a heartbreaking moment for you guys was last year in the school's SA20. You get to the final and the weather just doesn't allow play. I felt for you because I had to do a report afterwards, and you had to go to a bowl off. I don't think that's something that you normally prepare for. A bowl off doesn't happen often. How difficult was that for you guys to swallow?
Yeah, that's one of those things. We really worked hard. We knew for the next 2 seasons we've got a very strong first side, and we knew that we could do well in the SA20 competition. So by winning the regional one, that was very good for us. Yeah, like you said, CS, the weather didn't play along with the next phase, the second round or the second phase of SA20. Yes, the heartbreak, because I was at the indoor center at St. John's when we did the bowl out. And you could really see, a boy like Corneille Botha stood up. He said, "I'll take the responsibility." And afterwards, he was heartbroken. A lot of the boys cried and so on. And like, rightly so, it's not something that you can prepare for. Although this was my second bowl out. Previous one was at a Johnny White competition. But we never thought that the weather would be that bad suddenly, a turnaround. Yeah, but it's one of those lessons that you learn in cricket and learn in life. You need to take the knock and just get back up again.
And when you look at the introduction of Schools SA20, how has that also helped Noordheuwel to move ahead with its production of quality youngsters who play cricket? Because it's also, when you look at the fact that you guys have a few guys, Brits, Herman, Maritz, all those guys. And now there's this added side of schools, SA20, where kids can be seen on a national platform.
Yeah, I think if I have to be honest, I think the SA20 competition is great. I think it's an absolutely great idea, a great initiative by CSA. I think this year's will only be the second edition. I think in 5-10 years time we're going to see even more. I don't necessarily want to say the SA20 was the rise of a JJ Basson. I think he needs to get more credit than just the SA20 or even a Corneille Botha or a Dian Talliot and a Tidi Moketsane. But I must be honest with you, I think the SA20 competition is something that's going to be massive in the years to come. I hope CSA can generate the funding so it can continue, because I think it's going to put boys like a JJ Basson and a Corneille Botha on the global stage. I think more people will recognize them for their achievements, and I think something like the SA20 is great for universities to do scouting and even clubs. I definitely think in CGL our club structure is very strong, as you know. And I think something like the SA20 will benefit not just the schooling environment and a school like Noordheuwel, but also the club environment at the end of the day.
Let's zone in on my favorite two. Okay, now I'm adding Dian Talliot to that because I've been seeing him a lot on the scorecards. But I have paid a lot of attention to JJ and to Corneille. I think most people will recognize JJ more, but for me, Corneille has been one of the standout players in the province for the past year. How long have you worked as a school to really get Corneille to where he is, because he's now part of the SA under-19 squad? How hard has it been to just shepherd him? I know you guys look at him as an all-rounder. I think he's better with a bat, but that's a debate. But but how has this journey been like?
Corneille is a special person. I don't know how many people actually know this, but Corneille is very talented. He started training with us, I think it was in grade 5, grade 6. He started training with us. And then we already saw, listen, there's some talent. As a grade 6 bowler, he was quick. But what people don't really know about Corneille is that he's probably, in grade 8, 9, and 10, he was in the top 3 in the country with javelin. He throws the javelin 60 meters, so he's an exceptional athlete. And then over and above that, he could easily play or could have played first team rugby if he wanted to. He played under 14A, 15A, 16A. I think the biggest downfall for Corneille, if I can call it like that, was the timing of some of his injuries. He got a stupid niggle at under 16 towards his end of his under 16, beginning under 17 year. I think that put him a little bit back again with his cricket. Luckily, the bios and the physios and the doctors identified and saw the problem, and he did an operation towards the end of his grade 11 year. And I think what we see now is exactly what his true talent is. He's really an exceptional cricketer. A lot of people ask me, what's he good in? And I can tell you, if you just look at the series that just passed now, the SA Under-19 series against Bangladesh, the catch that he took. I don't know if you saw that catch. He was diving like 5 meters, one-handed catch. He can field. He's a proper fielder. Batting wise, I don't think people give him the credit that's due to his batting. For us at school, he bats at 4. I know at SA under 90 level, I think he bats at 8 or 9. But he's an exceptional batsman. He can really. He's one of those players that can take a game away from you in a matter of few balls. You would think, yes, you've got a team on the back foot, and he would come in and he would play shots that you would think is what happened with the rest of the team. That's the type of player he is. And then obviously his bowling. Like I said, I think he would have been further ahead with his bowling. He's bowling close to 140 clicks as a 17, 18-year-old. And if it wasn't for the Achilles injury that he picked up last year, I think he would have been further ahead. But I'm really looking forward to see his development going forward. I think he's in the same class, same mold as a Ronan Herman, as a Tian Brits. I know there's a lot of provinces, franchises talking to him and looking at him. And if I had to be an agent, I would or a club or a franchise, I would be hunting this guy. He's an exceptional boy, and he's big. He's close to 1.9 meters. So he's an all-round athlete.
And let's talk about the one that everybody wants to talk about at the moment, JJ. Look, I have been following JJ for a bit now, and I've written a couple of articles, and I think I don't think people quite understand how talented this young man is, because he is very good with the ball. He's no mug with a bat. He can score a few runs from down the order, but the amount of new ball wickets it takes are just unbelievable.
Yes, listen, JJ, same like Tian Brits, Corneille. JJ is an exceptional person, exceptional human being, very down to earth. One of the things I can remember, like yesterday, I coached him under 14, 15, and he would listen. And I always say to the boys, if you're coachable, you can go anywhere in the world. And if I have to pinpoint one thing about JJ Basson, and that's it, he's coachable. He's one of those boys that's been part of our program since primary school. One of our ex-old boys, Zander van der Merwe. I don't know if you can remember him. He played Coke Week back in the day, and he represented the Strikers when they were still called the Strikers. Also a fast bowler. And Zander took him under his wings and did a lot of development. And that's why I say, I think if I have to pinpoint one thing about JJ is that he's coachable. If you tell him to work on something, he'll work on it. The first time that he got invited to the CSA camps, they do that. I think it's a 2 kilometer for time. And his time wasn't great. And he got back to school and he immediately came and said, listen, I need to improve my time. That's JJ. He's a hard worker. If he works 100%, there's not half measures. He's not a boy that's going to go and aim for something and not really put his all effort into that. And I think that's the one thing about JJ, and that's probably not just for JJ, but that's in life. If you want to work for something, you need to work for it. You can't go halfway and say, it's not great. I'll share a story with you, and I'm sure Patrick Moroney would forgive me for saying this, but at one of the first camps, they did a training session, and at that stage, JJ was clocking at about 123, 125, 126. And afterwards, Patrick Moroney said to him, listen, you're military medium. And he took that very hard. And he came back to school and he said, okay, well, I don't want to be called medium pace. I want to be a fast bowler. And he worked hard on it. And that's JJ. We identified some areas like his conditioning, gym work, and he put in 100% effort into that. And I think he's a boy. Yes, he's left-handed. It's a commodity in South Africa to be a left-handed seamer and to swing the ball like he does. And I think that's the reason why he gets so many wickets with the new ball is that he gets ridiculous swing on that. And I think he's clocking now at 138, 139 within a year and 3 months, something like that. So JJ is an exceptional boy, he's an exceptional player. And over and above that, he's very clever as well. You know, he's sitting with core maths, science, and he juggles a lot in his personal life as well to make this dream of being a professional cricketer happening.
There is two names. Oh no, it's not two names. I had two names and then more cropped up. There is an opener, Wanda Roofing. I don't think people talk about him, but I always see him. He does well. And then you mentioned Dean Taliad. I hadn't paid a lot of attention to him myself. But can you tell me about those two youngsters?
Yeah, you know what? If I can start with Vander, I think Vander has had a raw deal. He's been exceptional from under 14. I coached him as well. Left-hander, opener, batsman, very composed. A very good boy, very, very, very good boy. Works hard, puts in the effort, and rightly, as you said, now not a lot of people are talking about him. I think at the Lions trials, the round one trials, everybody stood up and were noticing him. And because I had a lot of phone calls asking me, who's this boy? Who's this boy? And I said to them, guys, this boy's been here since under 14. You guys are just not seeing him. And I think at round one, he was the top run scorer out of every single boy there. I think he scored something like 180, 190 runs in his 3 innings. I think it was close to 200 somewhere there. So he's been exceptional for Noordheuwel. He's been really a block, if I can say it like that. When things are tough, when wickets are falling, you can always rely on Vander. Whereas Dian is a little bit the opposite. You know, everybody knows about Dian. He's come with a big reputation since primary school. He's been a boy that's been scoring a lot of runs. I think in the Josie Cup, the CGL competition, club competition that's run in the winter season, I think he's just proven again his worth. Where in the one game he scored I can't even remember, 150 from something like 47 balls, something ridiculous. And that's the other side. You've got Vander that can score his 100 balls, and then you've got Dian that can score 130 balls. You know, exceptional player Dian, a very good human being, does the hard work, puts in a lot of effort, not just now, since ever, and also almost like Corneille, at crucial times he's picked up a injury, or not really injury, a health scare, can I call it like that, due to COVID, and we all expected him to be selected for under 16 team last year, and suddenly the doctors saw something, and luckily they saw it quickly, early enough, sorted it out. But listen, that's a good boy. He went with us now to the Stayers Festival in Durban, and he looks, if you look at him batting, you would think batting is easy. He goes in extremely difficult conditions. Wind was blowing 50, 60 kilometers an hour, and against Clifton, he scores a 80 of. It looks like a professional batsman, and just the next day, He scores 111 of 47 balls, and you would think, yes, how does he make this happen? He's a really, really talented player, blessed with a lot of talent. I can tell you, he got called up to the regional camps, CSA regional camps this year for the first time. And I think there's a big future for him. I know in his heart, he wants to make that happen. He wants to be a professional cricketer, and he's also a brilliant wicketkeeper. So I'm very, very excited for him, for both of those boys, to see what the year is going to hold in for them.
When we speak of Noordheuwel making it to the finals of the Lions section of the Schools SA 20, people will say, oh, but you had JJ Basson. But that's not particularly true, because JJ had an injury last year, so he didn't take part in a lot of the Schools SA 20 matches because he suffered an injury. And then the bowling, this is what I love about Noordheuwel, is the guys pull together. They move as a block, as a unit. And you have bowlers like, I think, Homo, Sibi, and
Yes.
but one of my favorites is JD Bezuidenhout.
Yes.
And I look at them and I think they don't get a lot of credit, but these are the guys who really hold things together with a ball.
Yeah, rightly so. Nobody actually knows this, but yeah. So JJ, I think he played two SA 20 games, and then he picked up a stress fracture in his ankle, and that basically put him out for about 3 months. And that's exactly the culture of this Noordheuwel team. You've got a JD Bezuidenhout, who now in the Lions round 1 has really impressed a lot of the selectors, and a lot of people are asking, where did this boy suddenly come from? And I said, well, he's always been there, but you guys focus on a Corneille Botha and a JJ Basson, and suddenly a JD Bezuidenhout has come to the front and doing very well. Another boy, also a seamer, that's taken a lot of responsibility for the bowling attack when JJ was out injured, is Tidi Mokatsane. Who I believe can make it. He's one of those boys, same like a Riley Norton, exceptional cricketer and also an exceptional rugby player. He played Craven Week for the Lions this year. If you ask me, I think he's a better cricketer. But he's between JD Bezuidenhout and Tidi Mokatsane. They've really taken up that responsibility whenever either JJ or Corneille couldn't bowl or were injured or whatever. The two of them really took up the responsibility. And then the other boy that you mentioned now, Homo Sibi, yes, that is a success story that I'd like to share it with you. So Homo, when he started in grade 8 with us, he was a short, little chubby boy, left-handed seamer, ran in there, seamed, and we thought, yeah, this boy, he was struggling. And so under 14, he played C team. Under 15, during that off season, we worked a little bit with him. And then under 15, he started off playing under 15B, again seaming, and we said to him, listen, no ways, you're not getting taller, you're not doing really anything with the ball. Let's look at changing your action. So we changed him into a spinner, a left armer. And yes, he played from under 15B, under 16A, first team. That's really one of our success stories. Whereas he never played CGL, any representative team. From under 16, he played CGL under 16. Last year under 17, and hopefully this year he'll make one of the under 19 teams. But that's one of the boys that's really stood up and taken the responsibility, and not just taking the responsibility. He was actually one of those guys you could give him the ball and he would bowl his 10 overs 2-3 wickets for no runs. So he's he's a very, very good boy. Very funny boy. I think he's one of those guys in the team that brings the fun out of cricket as well.
And unfortunately, I have not yet had a look at your under 16 side, but given what I know about this current team that I've been watching since last year, I really think that Noordheuwel cricket is headed in the right direction. As in Noordheuwel, right now, you guys are tough competitors in the Johnny Weight. There is no doubt about it. No school is going to be looking at you thinking, those are easy points. Teams really have to come to with their A game. And it's the same with the schools SA20, as you should. But what does your next line look like, the under 16s? Because we cannot look at Dean Talia now. He's already in the A side, but behind them, what's lying in store?
So one of the things that we introduced this year is that so Donald, Dinaki, and myself had a good sit down beginning of the year. We said, okay, so we're losing a lot of matrics at the end of this year. What are we going to do? So we play in the Faskin, which is a great opportunity to blood good youngsters, up and coming youngsters. The Faskin is brilliant, one of the best tournaments there is. And then what we also did was we arranged a tour down to Durban, played Clifton, DHS, Glenwood with only the up and coming guys. We didn't really. I think we only picked 2 of the current first team boys. So to answer your question, how does the youngsters look like? I can tell you under 15, 16 group, we've got 2 seamers there. Very, very excited for them. I think both of them are the next seamers in the class of a Cornay Botha, both right-handed. The one boy, MJ Kritzinger, a colored boy, proper bowler, proper bowler. Bats lower down the order, but then the other one is a boy called Heinu Ferreira. Exactly. If you look at Cornay Botha, you see this boy. He bats 5'6", hits a long ball and very quick. Seriously good seamer. Very excited for him. And then there's a boy that we started playing now in the first team in the last 2-3 weeks, Renee van der Berg. Also quality all-rounder, can bat anywhere. But he bowls left arm spin, proper cricketer. Liam Roots, and then one of the boys that you would know, Ethan Smith, top order bat for the first team. So he's a matric, but his brother is now under 16. Also quality all-rounder, bats in the top 5, bowls seam. So very exciting for us. We've got a lot of youngsters coming through. Like I mentioned just now, our under 14s and 15s have gone on this year, and we played a lot of the top schools, the Saxes, the Paul Rooses, and those guys. And our teams have done very, very well. So I'm really looking forward to our under 14 and 15 group coming up. I truly believe our grade 8s of next year is going to do well. So a few names that you can look out for is definitely Heinrich Smith, Heinu Ferreira, MJ Kritzinger, Renee van der Berg, Liam Roots. Those are guys that's going to be playing first team January coming.
Unfortunately, I put a lot of focus on the boys, which is unfortunate, but you see, those are the ones I write mostly about.
Yes.
But then you also have quite a good girls side. What is the first team girls looking like this year, particularly when we are looking forward to the schools SA20?
Listen, our girls, like I mentioned just now, so when we started girls cricket 3 years ago, we struggled to get one team going. Currently, we can easily put 3 teams in the field. The girls program has really taken off at a, I always want to say, alarming rate, because you need. I'm sitting with the problem. I need to get fields, get coaches, all those things. But it's great. Our girls cricket. As it's absolutely fantastic where we currently are with the girls cricket. Names that I can quickly throw out there that you can definitely write down. Liani Swanepoel, like I mentioned just now, she made a first class or a professional debut this past weekend for the Lions. She's a matric. Then there's a girl in grade 9, Liana Besaidenout. You can write her name down. Proper all-rounder, left-hand seamer. Magdalene Ernst, also brilliant cricketer. Jana Olivier. Our girls program is really doing well. In terms of our expectations for the SA20, I think we've got a tough draw. I'll start there. We're playing Queens. Queens is one of the stronger girls sides in the country. So we're starting against them. I believe if we can beat Queens, we can go on and win the SA20 competition. We played Steyn City 2-3 weeks ago, had a comprehensive win over them there. So yeah, like I said, really looking forward to the girls cricket. It's been growing at an alarming rate. Again, same with the boys. We've got a girls program running a grade 6 and 7 program. So a lot of the girls come to us, grade 6. They come, like I said, we've got a full-time coach in the academy, Henry Zinn, who's also involved with one of the Lions girls sides, and he does a lot of the development of those girls. And then the coach there, Robert Clooney, also very enthusiastic, puts in the work. And like I said, we currently sitting with 2 full sides running, playing in the leagues. Going on tours. Yeah, so it's massive for us. The girls program has really taken off well.
Look, if there's anything that tells me that the program is running well, is that you beat Steyn City. I mean, these girls, the girls at Steyn City were beating everyone last year. Like they assembled a juggernaut of a side, and they are just impossible to beat. Even without Karabo, so they're just too tough. So,
yeah.
For me, that's confirmation.
Yeah, we were lucky. Karabo didn't play, and Diara didn't play. But like I said, we'll take the win. We've been working hard with those goals, and I think the good thing for our first team goals is that we're only losing 1 goal. Only 1 matric. The rest are all grade 8, 9s, and 10s, and I think we've got 1 grade 11 in the team as well. So basically, in the next 2 years, we're only losing 2 goals, and that's also testament to where this girls program can go to. Is that we're sitting basically now with 9 goals in the team that's going to be there for the next 3 years, 4 years.
Brilliant. Etienne, I have to let you go. Thank you very much for allowing me to just take about an hour of your day to talk about Noordheuwel cricket and the stars we can look forward to.
Thank you. I really appreciate this, and it's a privilege to be on this program. And yeah, same like you. Looking forward to all your articles. I like reading them every week. So keep on writing good things about Noordheuwel.
No, you guys give me no reason not to write wonderful stuff. You have a wonderful program. You have wonderful young men, very, very humble people, and great cricketers to boot. So thank you for the hard work.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.